Did you know that according to the National Library for Medicine, hair loss affects over 50 million men and women in the United States? Would you ever believe that 47% of those impacted would be willing to exchange their entire life savings in order to get their hair back? With hair transplants costing up to $20,000, it is crucial to know the shocking daily habits secretly causing you to lose your hair. Let's see what Barbara O'Neill, a health and wellness expert with the best natural solutions to complex health problems, has to say about the shocking habits that are secretly causing your hair to fall out and what you can do about it. For many people, alopecia can happen because of genetics or autoimmune diseases. But did you know that there are things you do that can cause you to lose hair faster than anything else? The problem is that we do some of these things daily too. You may not know them now, but you will soon find out that these are actions that you probably don't pay attention to right now. We're going to talk about the habits first, and then see what Barbara has to say about fixing them. But why is there hair loss and what causes hair loss? The truth is, there isn't a particular single reason for why this happens, so let us look at one of the most common causes: dye. Barbara has talked about how many people use toxic forms of dye for their hair when there are much safer options. That seemingly harmless and safe-to-use bottle of dye in your favorite hair care product does so much more damage than you may think.
A friend of mine, she always dyed her hair. Her hair, she was showing grey hair from a very early age, and so from about the age of 30, she began to dye her hair. Now you can get a hair dye made of henna, and henna is a plant that can dye your hair, and that is not toxic. But my friend did not use that one. She used a chemical hair dye, and little by little it was killing off her follicles where the hair grows.
The process of dyeing your hair is an action that affects everything from your scalp to the ends of your hair. You see, each hair follicle is changed by color molecules penetrating the cuticle and entering the cortex. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine having cereal for breakfast. You have already poured your milk into the cereal before you realize that you left the tap on upstairs. So you quickly rush upstairs to turn the tap off. By the time you come back, your cereal has gotten softer, almost falling apart. That is what dye does to our natural hair. Not only does it strip your hair of much-needed protein, but it also weakens your hair, making it softer, which can easily cause it to fall off. Most times when people want to add color to their hair, they often start with bleach. Bleach contains really strong and toxic chemicals like ammonia and sulfuric acid. Let me tell you, this is where the real trouble begins. Dyeing your hair with those harsh chemicals might feel like a quick refresh, but it's a backstage pass to hair drama you didn't ask for. These chemicals don't just change the color, they strip away your hair's protective layer and leave it vulnerable. The more you dye, the drier your hair becomes, and the next thing you know, you're losing more than is normal. Did you know that you lose between 50 to 100 hairs per day? And that's without doing things that are harmful to your hair. In the case of bleach, every application piles on the damage, turning those once lush locks into brittle strands that snap under the slightest pressure. Brushing your hair then becomes a game of seeing how long it is before you become bald. But it's not just your hair that's under attack, your scalp is slowly being chipped too. Over time, inflammation sets in, and those vital hair follicles begin to weaken. When that happens, thinning and even hair loss aren't far behind. The scariest part is when things get to this point, you are probably thinking of going through hair loss treatments. By that point, you will be contributing thousands of dollars to an $8 billion industry dedicated to restoring lost hair. And it may not even work.
Another friend of mine did not like her very curly hair, and so all her life, from probably about her late teens right up until her 50s, she straightened her hair. Now the solutions that they use to straighten the hair, or for people with straight hair that want curly hair, it is a very toxic chemical. So what happens is, if a person wants to straighten their hair, what the hairdresser does is pull the hair over great big rods like that. And so the curly hair that's this curly, of course, gets pulled over them and that straightens it. But if a person's got straight hair and they want curly hair, well, the rods are that big and they stretch the hair around and around and around. So whether it's to straighten the hair or whether it's to curl the hair, they put this toxic solution on. It's a strong chemical, and what it does is it breaks all the little joints in the hair, because hair has all these little joints like this. So what it does is it breaks the joints, and then it's molded, of course, around either there for the curl or there for the straight. And then when all of those little bonds are broken and it's been stretched into a certain shape, they rinse off that chemical and then they put another chemical on to set it. So to set the bonds together, and then that sets the hair structure as straight or as curly. So basically that's how the hair is permed.
Another habit that can quickly fry your hair and make it fall off is straightening and curling. You have just heard Barbara talk about how using heat and toxic chemicals can damage your hair, whether it is naturally straight or curly. Straightening and curling are popular ways to achieve stylish, polished looks, but they rely on heat and chemicals that fundamentally alter the structure of your hair. There's a very simple science behind how straightening or curling your hair can damage it. Your hair's natural shape, whether it is straight, wavy, or curly, is determined by the structure of the keratin proteins and the bonds within them. These include hydrogen bonds, disulfide bonds, and salt bonds, which hold your hair in its natural configuration. Heat styling tools like flat irons and curling wands temporarily reshape these bonds. When straightening your hair, this is what happens. A flat iron uses high heat to break hydrogen bonds, forcing your hair into a straighter alignment. This process relies on moisture from your hair being temporarily evaporated to allow the reshaping to occur. In the case of curling, what happens is also very similar. Heat is applied to disrupt these bonds and reform them around the shape of the curling iron so your hair can have a coiled and bouncy appearance. That appearance that many of us struggle to keep up with every day by frying our hair so that it can look good for a few hours causes a lot of trouble. For instance, excessive heat strips hair of its natural moisture and proteins. Over time, this weakens the strands, making them prone to breakage. When your hair becomes brittle, it's more likely to snap off during brushing or styling. When the hair is dry, the scalp will suffer from inflammation from tugging on it too hard while brushing. Barbara says that the scalp's health is essential for strong hair growth. Heat and chemicals irritate the scalp, causing inflammation and increasing the level of disruption that occurs with our hair follicles. Before you know it, the hair is thinning, and you can no longer hold a comb to your hair without half of it coming down as well. Let's talk a bit about the scalp. The human body hosts over 100 trillion microbes, forming a microbiome, an ecosystem that maintains balance in vital systems, including the scalp. When the microbes in your scalp are doing their job, they protect your scalp and hair from damage, irritation, and infections, keeping everything strong and healthy. But when the microbiome is disrupted, your scalp gets dry, your hair gets weak, and you might even start losing hair. So if the balance of your scalp's microbiome is off, your hair gets in trouble too. It works like this. When that balance is off, whether from too much oil, dirt buildup, or harsh products, things go downhill. A balanced microbiome keeps hair follicles healthy, while an imbalance can lead to issues like dandruff, itching, dryness, and even hair loss. Keeping that balance right is key to preventing issues like eczema or dandruff. One major contributor to scalp imbalances is the buildup of environmental grime, product residue, and dead skin cells, which can clog hair follicles and cause irritation. Then there's malassezia, a type of yeast that loves to feast on excess oil. When your scalp is overproducing sebum, this yeast thrives, leading to dandruff and itchiness. A healthy scalp needs the right balance of bacteria and yeast to keep things smooth, and you can achieve this through the following ways: gentle exfoliation, moisturizing, and using sulfate-free shampoos that won't strip your scalp's natural oils.
I have also seen in some areas where people braid their hair really, really tightly. You'll often see that they've got hair loss around here where you've got that weight. You've got that constant weight on the hair, which can really just keep pulling the hair out, and then the follicles are damaged. So no matter how it happens, we must stop what is causing the damage.
Another thing that can damage your hair and cause it to fall out, let us call this habit 2.5, is making tight hairstyles. In the clip you just saw, Barbara talked about how many clients did tight hairstyles when she was working as a hairstylist. Tight hairstyles may look sleek and chic, but they are doing more harm than good. When you constantly pull your hair back into tight ponytails, braids, buns, or cornrows, you're not just styling it, you're putting it under serious stress. This tension puts pressure on the hair follicles, weakening them over time and leading to a condition called traction alopecia. That's a fancy way of saying your hair is fed up and falling out. Here's the science behind it. Your scalp is home to tiny follicles that anchor your hair in place. When you tug on your hair repeatedly, the follicle gets inflamed and can even scar. If the tension continues, the follicle might stop producing hair altogether. The worst part? You might not even notice the damage at first. It starts with little things like a receding hairline or thinning edges. Before you know it, by the time you're taking those braids out, your hair starts to fall off in clumps from the root. The thing is, many times, you think you're caring for your hair, but you're doing the opposite. Unfortunately, most people perform these so-called hair care routines every day. Some of them include rubbing shampoo into the length of the hair, skipping the conditioner, rough towel drying, and using blow dryers and curling irons too often. All of these practices make hair prone to frizz and breakage. I know you're wondering, what is the solution then? Just keep watching. There are some amazing remedies from the wonderful Barbara.
Sometimes I see hair loss in a hormonal imbalance. So if it's a hormonal imbalance, then the hormones must be balanced back again. And that's where the Anna's Wild Yam cream. I have a presentation on balancing the hormones, and you can Google my name and watch that, and it will show you that the Anna's Wild Yam cream is a cream that when it's regularly applied twice a day, it balances those hormones back and can cause that hair to grow back again. Sometimes high stress, if someone goes through a very stressful situation, one of the reactions can be hair loss. So what can you do to bring it back again? There's one more that I didn't mention, and that's anemia. If a person is anemic, it can cause hair loss. So what's anemic? Anemic means very low iron in the blood. And anemia can be caused because of heavy blood loss at period time. A lot of women suffer from that, and that can cause anemia, and the anemia can cause the hair loss.
Now for habit number 3, perhaps the biggest and least noticeable thing: hormonal imbalance. Stress seems to be a part of our daily lives. At least that's the truth for many. Did you know that you can lose up to 70% of your hair because of stress? Hair can quickly fall out after major stressful events, even as a result of accumulated stress every day. There are so many other things that can cause hormonal imbalances as well. Your small daily habits might be dropping hints about your health, and not the good kind. Take birth control pills, for example. While they do their job by adjusting estrogen and progesterone levels to prevent pregnancy, they can unintentionally mess with other hormones, like androgens. This hormone shuffle can make your hair follicles overly sensitive, leading to androgenic alopecia. Basically, you find out that your hair is falling out faster than you thought was possible. Then there's the meat on your plate. Non-organic meats are often packed with growth hormones and antibiotics to speed up animal growth. When we eat them, those antibiotics and hormones often become active in our bodies as well, and then slowly change our hormonal structure. This can cause your hair follicles to be stressed and ready to fall off at any minute. And let's not forget plastics, those handy containers. Some release chemicals like BPA and phthalates into your food and drinks. These disrupt your hormones, mimicking or blocking them and causing imbalances that can weaken your follicles. Women, have you ever wondered why you probably lose more hair during your periods? Well, the truth is, Your hair needs iron just as much as your body needs it. Because of heavy blood loss over a couple of days, women can suffer from more hair loss than usual because of the loss of iron. People who are anemic also suffer from hair loss due to the excessive lack of iron. While you may be thinking, I eat foods high in iron, why is my hair still falling out? Your body might be low on hydrochloric acid. Let's hear what Barbara has to say about this and how you can fight it.
Low hydrochloric acid, because iron is bound up in food and it needs acid to liberate it from food. So it's very important that the person ensure they have nice strong hydrochloric acid. A simple way to ensure that is to have 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper in a little bit of water before every meal. If you're finding that a little bit hard, you can have the juice of a lemon before every meal. Important to leave a break between meals. Important not to drink water with your meals because that dilutes the hydrochloric acid. Also important to have a very happy, relaxed environment at the meal table.
Here's a bonus point before we move on. Did you know that a lot of hair damage happens at night, and your choice of pillowcases contributes significantly to the condition of your hair? If you sleep on cotton pillowcases every night, chances are your hair has been gradually getting damaged. Due to their rough fibers, cotton pillowcases can lead to tangled, dry, frizzy, and of course, damaged hair. Cotton pillowcases absorb moisture from your hair, and so make it dry and brittle. When your hair is dry or tangled and you aggressively brush it by yanking, it can pull some of your hair out, ultimately leading to hair breakage. Still, on the subject of sleep, lack of sleep and stress make your hair give up and fall out. When you're not getting enough rest, your body gets stressed, which messes with your hair growth. Stress can cause different types of hair loss like telogen effluvium, where your hair just starts shedding, alopecia areata, which gives you random bald spots, and trichotillomania, a psychiatric disorder where people start pulling their own hair out without realizing it. And what causes all of these conditions? Stress. Here's something else we bet you didn't know. Excessive screen time before bed can also lead to hair loss. The blue light your phone emits doesn't just affect your eyes. It also causes cell damage, dries out your scalp, and messes with your hair growth. Studies show that the blue light from your phone or laptop can damage your hair follicles, making them weaker over time. Plus, sitting hunched over for hours can prevent blood flow to your scalp, which might explain why your hair is thinning out before you even realize it. So, now you have been enlightened on the things you probably do daily and don't know that they are causing your hair to fall out. Let's check out some surefire tips from Barbara to make sure that our hair is growing faster, shinier, and healthier than before, shall we?
Hormones. But what can you do to the scalp to encourage the hair to grow again? You can make a mix that you can put on your hair. And this mix is, let's make up the mix. So 1/2 cup of coconut oil and 1/2 cup of castor oil. Castor oil is a very thick oil, but castor oil penetrates deeper than any other oil. So when that is put onto the scalp, it penetrates even deeper. Coconut oil is a very nourishing oil. It's an antifungal oil, antibacterial oil. But what you also can put with that, so now you've got a cup of oil there. To that cup of oil, you can add 10 drops of rosemary essential oil. Rosemary is a herb that's specific for the scalp. Rosemary essential oil. So you could make up this mix in a jar and mix it very, very well, and maybe once a week you massage it into the scalp. Your hair will be very oily, of course, but you massage it into the scalp. Just even the massaging into the scalp stimulates blood supply to the hair follicles. That castor oil penetrates very deep, and wherever it penetrates, it can revive life into that area. And the coconut also is a very nourishing oil, and the rosemary essential oil stimulates. Every herb stimulates different parts of the body, and this rosemary herb is specific for the scalp. The massaging, so leave it in as much as you can. Maybe you choose a Sunday when you may be going to be home all day. And at the end of the day, you wash out Now you might need to put shampoo on a couple of times to get all that oil out. Just use a little bit of hot water and then a nice amount of shampoo.
Now, Barbara warns you to keep away from shampoos that contain a certain chemical called sodium lauryl sulfate. SLS is a chemical compound commonly used as a surfactant, which means it helps to lower the surface tension of liquids, allowing them to mix more easily. It is widely found in products like shampoos, toothpaste, body washes, detergents, and cleaning agents. SLS is very harsh on the hair because it strips off all the oil and nutrients that you have just added with Barbara's mixture that helps grow your hair, and then your hair becomes brittle.
It's the hair follicles. So it's important to take a magnifying glass into the shop and read the labels. In places like Whole Foods, Sprouts, Trader Joe's, where they have a lot of health foods, so they have a lot of supplements, and they have a more healthier brand of products. So have a look for a shampoo that has so we've got to make sure you realise no sodium lauryl sulfate, because the sodium lauryl sulfate is a chemical that causes the foaming of the shampoo, and that sodium lauryl sulfate has the ability to kill the hair follicles in the scalp. So please keep away from that. You can get some very nice coconut-based shampoos. Coconut is very nourishing to the scalp. What's also important, here are some additions to the treatment. So additions to using this once a week. I mean, if you're home a lot, you might even do it twice a week. Exercise. What exercise does is it increases the circulation of the blood to the extremities, and the scalp is considered an extremity.
You heard her. You need to exercise because it increases the circulation of blood across the body. And naturally, your hair isn't left out. Exercise is a game changer for hair health. It boosts blood circulation and reaches your scalp. High-intensity interval training, HIIT, is particularly effective, with intense bursts of activity that get blood pumping to every part of your body, including your hair roots. Combine this with proper hydration, about 8 glasses of water per 100 pounds of body weight, and you're laying the foundation for a well-nourished scalp. If your scalp isn't getting the right care from the inside, it's only a matter of time before your hair suffers. Your scalp doesn't need stress, as you already know. Rather, it needs nutrients like vitamin D3, iron, and zinc to stay strong and healthy. Since your scalp is fed by your blood, what you eat matters just as much as what you drink. A high-fiber diet is essential, alongside plenty of protein from sources like legumes, nuts, and seeds. Protein acts as the building block for your hair, while healthy fats, such as those from avocados, coconut oil, and olive oil, provide the nutrients needed for strong, shiny strands. Whether you're Team Coconut or Team Olive Oil, these fats can work wonders for your overall hair health. Making small changes can save your hair. Massage shampoo gently into your scalp instead of rubbing it in, and always follow up with conditioner to lock in moisture. In addition, wearing lightweight weaves or extensions and protecting your hair from excessive sun exposure would really help. If you're a swimmer, keep that hair protected with a cap and rinse it off immediately after swimming. Gently comb damp hair with a wide tooth comb to avoid breakage. Try to avoid towel drying when you can. Let your hair air dry or use a towel to wrap it up for a bit. Gently finger comb through your hair to detangle, because brushing wet hair is a big no-no. Avoid it and stick with letting your hair dry naturally whenever possible. Lastly, limit heat styling and use the lowest heat settings to keep your hair strong and intact. Do all of these and your hair will thank you. The key to healthy hair is simple: do not tug, do not overbrush, and do not excessively style. Opt for gentler methods that help your hair stay healthy and vibrant. Don't forget the importance of sleep. Healing happens twice as fast when your body is well rested, so aim for a solid 8 hours every night. Create a calming bedtime routine. Dim the lights, let in fresh air, and snuggle into natural fiber sheets. Little by little, you'll notice improvements, not just in your sleep, but potentially in your hair growth too. And remember to avoid cotton pillowcases. Silk or satin pillowcases are better alternatives because of their smooth fibers, which prevent hair damage, especially if you toss and turn at night. Silk pillowcases retain moisture and natural oils and keep your hair hydrated through the night. If you're skeptical about parting ways with your cotton pillowcases, don't worry too much. You can wrap your hair in a silk scarf before going to bed. These steps may seem small, but together they build a powerful routine that supports healthy, vibrant hair. Start today and watch as your efforts bring noticeable results. So, before you go and spend $12,000 on a hair transplant, try out the tips Barbara gave first. If you're consistent, they will work sooner than you realize. So what shocked you the most out of the 3 habits? Do leave your comments in the comments section below, and don't forget to click on that subscribe button and turn on post notifications to receive timely and effective health updates.